Welcome to the Grounded Guidance Podcast, where we explore the transformative potential of living in alignment with our intuition. I'm your host, Karen Williams. Each day we receive countless intuitive messages that guide us on our journey toward a more fulfilling life. Are you listening? Through personal experiences, ongoing self-reflection, and captivating stories, we will explore the wisdom of individuals who have embraced the magic of following their intuition and fearlessly sharing their light with the world. These conversations are designed to meet you exactly where you are, serving as a gentle push from the universe to join us on this enlightening journey. Is scalar energy the best kept secret to heal our bodies? Scalar energy, also known as prana, chi, radiant energy, or zero-point energy, is emitted continuously from the sun of our solar system and all the stars in the universe. This is the energy not found within the electromagnetic spectrum. Tom Palladino is a researcher and humanitarian seeking to make a difference in the world by providing people with the education and tools to restore optimal health and by helping enhance the quality of their life. Tom began research with scalar energy during his undergraduate years after developing a deep admiration for the father of scalar energy research, Nikola Tesla. He was also able to study the work of a man named Hieronymus, who continued research on scalar energy. Hieronymus's major contributions include unbinding the RNA and DNA bonds of microbes plaguing the agricultural industry, rendering them harmless. Welcome, Tom Palladino, to the Grounded Guidance Podcast.
Thank you for the invite. Pleasure.
Yes. So I'm really excited to have you here today. I'm excited to learn more about scalar energy and the benefits, as you said before we started recording, to all of mankind. So I'm curious what piqued your interest in this, and we'll kind of launch off from there.
I've always been curious, and I've always had that desire to pursue something as far as a scientific inquiry. And why did I pick scalar energy, scalar light? It's fundamental. Energy's fundamental. If you want to really find yourself into the fabric of science, you work with energy, which obeys the laws of science. To be clear, we're going to speak about scalar energy, not electromagnetic energy. My instruments are unique because they control an energy that is not electricity or magnetism. There's actually two energies, even though that's not introduced by academia yet. We're working with the free energy of the sun and the stars. So my work is groundbreaking on account of the fact that I have successfully captured that energy of the sun and the stars, and I can produce what I consider to be quantum health benefits or energetic benefits to people and animals.
So, without going into the proprietary details of it, how is that done?
Yeah. Now, you have to put your thinking cap on and you have to think outside of the box. And we're not working, once again, with electricity. So it's a different type of energy in which when I work with people around the world, I access a person through their photograph. Now, Karen and I are having a discussion by StreamYard, and we see each other and we're communicating through our image or through the computer. Right. Well, you can do that on StreamYard or Zoom or Skype, and you can also now, with scalar energy, communicate by way of a photograph of a person. So this is the new science in which we don't work with people. We work with images, or we work with the energy of the person on the photograph. Now, you might say, well, that's rather peculiar. Well, it is. It's unique to scalar energy. So bear with me now. Okay. My instrument is a source of light. It picks up light. It can also pick up a light signature of a photograph, whether it's my photograph or the photograph of 100 people.
Okay. So
instead of working in person, we don't do that. People bilocate to my laboratory. Anybody can bilocate, come to my laboratory, teleport to my laboratory through their photograph. Now, 100 years ago, if you would have said that two people could have a discussion through a computer or through, you could see another person by way of video or on a radio or on a cell phone, you would say, well, that's ridiculous. How can a person be in a cell phone or in a computer? It's the image. So if you can do that with a video or a cell phone or Zoom, now you can also do that with a photograph. That's the key to my work. So this is the new science. It is cutting edge. And we're able now to pick out a frequency, what some people call, what I call a signature of a germ, a microbe. My photograph will predict, my photograph will entail a signal of a virus, a bacterium, or a fungus. I can, yes. It's a quantum field. It's an energy field. If I had, for instance, if I had a typical virus, this is sometimes called the flu virus or the stomach virus, norovirus.
Yeah.
I would literally take this photograph of norovirus, place it next to my photograph. The two photographs communicate in a scalar energy instrument. If I had that norovirus, I would identify it in my quantum field. It's not a biological process, it's an energetic process. Right. So the two photographs communicate as Karen and I are communicating through this video exchange. So in a scalar energy environment, you can place two photographs in an instrument and they talk to one another, they communicate. If I had the norovirus, I could find it in my quantum field energetically and destroy it, bring it to a state of chaos. Mm-hmm. It's a rather straightforward process. I follow the laws of science in which, with scalar energy, everything has a signature. The norovirus can be identified in my signature. Some people, with electricity, you might call that a frequency. I simply call it a signature. It's intelligence. Working through the laws of science, because it's an instrument, this is not my opinion, my instrument will abide by these laws of science, identify these two signatures. My instrument is designed to bring to a state of chaos a virus. It's that simple. It's that straightforward.
Wow. You explained that so well. So identifying, I will probably use the word frequency because that's what I'm used to. So identifying the norovirus frequency within a signature photograph is the way to be able to eliminate it or eradicate it, right? So what if you have not identified a frequency for something that we don't have a treatment for yet?
That's a good point. So let me fast forward this. Here's another example of the herpes virus. So how do I get around that? Over my lifetime, I've amassed 400,000 photographs of different species of viruses and bacteria, fungi, protozoan. So I have a library, that's the key, of 400,000 species of germs, microbes. So I introduce into the instrument only the photographs, and out of those 400,000 species of microbes, the instrument will eradicate, destroy whatever is found in my quantum field.
Wow. Wow.
So think about this only in terms of light. It's not a person. We're not working with biology. We're just matching force fields. We're just exchanging photographs. So in 1 hour, follow me now, I can take 400,000 photographs. They're miniaturized, Karen. 400,000 photographs of different species of pathogens, match them up, communicate them with my quantum field, and eradicate them. Wow. Whatever combination, whatever number of viruses, bacteria, protozoan, parasites I have in my quantum field, they'll be eradicated in 1 hour out of that collection of 400,000 species of microbes.
Do you have to be able to identify it to eradicate it?
No. Now, that's another nice thing about my work. Mm-hmm. There's no human reasoning. Right. There's no way I could possibly identify 400,000 species of pathogens for myself or for hundreds of people. Now, I've been at this publicly for 12 years. Today, in my laboratory, I work with 500,000 photographs.
Today alone?
Yes.
Wow.
Yes. I received group photographs like this many times from people around the world. And every day I receive another 1,000, 2,000 photographs. So when you add that up, Today, I work with 500,000 photographs. And in 1 hour, I could introduce the photographs of 400 species of microbes to 500,000 people.
Wow.
That's
have a lot of
quantum
words.
healing. Thank you. That's quantum healing.
It is.
And thank you for putting on your thinking cap. You get the big picture now. We're beyond, we're beyond the brick and mortar. This is not the little red schoolhouse.
Right.
When you're working the quantum field, everything's possible. You transcend
Everything
time
is
and
possible.
space. Thank you,
Yes.
Karen.
Yes.
I have photographs from people around the world. I've never been to India, but I've been working with a clinic in India, and the people that I work with, it's called the Om Prakash Clinic, HIV/AIDS clinic.
Mm-hmm.
I've worked with over 5,000 people at this HIV/AIDS clinic in Delhi, India. And after working through their photograph, these people say they feel better. Everybody in this photograph at one time was HIV positive. After these people from India sent me their photograph, I could identify the HIV virus and eradicate it, according to them. This is one of their test results from the Om Prakash HIV clinic. The test result is no viral load.
Oh, wow. I see it now.
HIV is not detected. No detectable viral load.
Okay. So, Tom, I want to back up a little bit because I feel like we're sitting in the seat of playing in that quantum field, which is amazing. Yeah. But I want to back up and talk about what scalar light, what's the source of scalar light and how you start to harness that. And is it accessible for everybody?
It is accessible to everybody. It's God's light. It's the light of God. It's the light of Jesus. And why do I say that? Well, nothing precedes it. It's fundamental. So, who created the light of the stars? This is what I've discovered. All stars, our sun is a star of our solar system, are animated by this light. Actually, scalar light is the reason we have sunlight and starlight. Mm-hmm. That's the energy that drives the stars. Well, who created the stars? God. How does God energize the stars? With scalar light. So this is how we're really at the first principle of the universe. This is the actual primal cause of all action. And nothing precedes light. Why? Because God created it. So what am I getting at? Light is fundamental. Mm-hmm. This is what I like about my research. I am at the top of creation. It's the cause, Karen. Everything else is the effect. Mm-hmm. So I control this primal energy that is the cause of nature. Okay, nothing precedes light.
If we all are God,
yes,
right?
Yes.
We all have that scalar energy within us.
You're right.
So it's not tapping into necessarily something that's outside of us,
right? But
harnessing what's within us. Is that true?
Yes. And here's a great example. My instrument can transcend time and space and work with anybody in the world. Mm-hmm. Just as your thought can transcend time and space and think about anybody or think about a distant object far off in the universe. Your emotions, your feelings transcend time and space. So the consciousness of the universe, your thoughts and your feelings transcend time and space. Thoughts and feelings are scalar energy waves. Mm-hmm. And it makes sense. Why? Nothing can stop scalar energy. Human thought, human feelings, nothing can stop it. It transcends time and space. It has instructions. We've heard this term before, consciousness, or the Akashic record. Some people call it the mind of God. Some people call it the all-seeing eye. Some cultures call it chi or prana. Nothing can block it. There's no, if you will, obstacle in the universe. Well, nothing can stop a thought. Nothing can stop feelings. So we are made in the image of God, and God gave us this download of light, scalar light, and we are scalar light beings, whether we realize it or not. The way we behave, our thinking and our feelings decides our outcome.
Yes, I absolutely agree with that. I'm curious, how do we move off of pure being a pure light being and move through the portal of disease, right?
Right.
I have a really solid understanding of emotions that and feelings that, moving through the different steps to disease. But if we all are light, and we come in as light and we leave as light, where do we get off the path?
Yeah. We get off the path because we're simply not concentrating on that light, or we have that disinformation or that chaos. Yeah. So what do I propose? Once we develop really strong scalar energy instruments, we should be able to cure many diseases. Mm-hmm. If I can eradicate a virus or a bacterium simply by incorporating in my instrument a photograph of the virus, well, who's to say that I can't have great success someday with other types of diseases, with other types of mental health issues? This is the information system of the universe. Scalar energy light is the information system. If I'm having great success now with pathogens, viruses, bacteria, and fungi, and I also, if you will, can download nutrients. We'll get into that in a minute. Mm-hmm. The point is this. It's endless, Karen. Mm-hmm. I've just scratched the surface. But light instructions, what? Will instruct, will give intelligence to everything. So if you want to be able to control, have dominion over nature, including have dominion over disease, you do so with light.
Let's just pause and think about that.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Dominion over nature. Now, what I've developed so far, and listen carefully, if I can take a photograph of a microbe, I can identify the force field or the energy field and negate that virus. I have dominion over viruses. I do. If I can do that with a bacterium, through a photograph of a bacterium, then I have dominion over a bacterium. I do. Now, if I've demonstrated that thus far with pathogens, then we should have dominion over every other aspect of nature. And that's where we're going with this. What I've achieved is just the beginning. I'm going to introduce this technique to humanity, but by no means am I the finisher. Mm-hmm. I think that scalar energy, I believe this will change the course of history. Why? Because it puts us in control of the outcome. It puts us in control of nature. It gives us dominion over nature. If we can control our world, nature, the universe, we're the kings and queens of the universe then.
So I want to throw a curveball at you. I believe that much of our society thrives in being sick. And the medical field is not designed to keep people healthy or well.
Correct.
So how do you propose this works through to infiltrate your mission?
To be candid, I have a grassroots movement, and we're going to keep it at grassroots. I'm not naive. I realize that big business and big government do not want this. Mm-hmm. Now, mind you, what I've described, if it's accurate and true, is the simple, easy way without an expensive infrastructure to address what I call quantum illness. Okay? Not just one person at a time, but millions of people by way of a photograph.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
So you
so
see what
like a bunch of people at a concert.
Yes. We have some Christian missionaries in Africa who'll take photographs of an entire village. Some people have agreed to it, and they have a drone, and they fly over a village, and they take a photograph of the village by drone.
That's remarkable if you think about that.
Yes.
This is our innate right?
Yes.
There's no permission there's no consent.
We'd like to get people's consent. Let me backstep. When
Okay.
we're working in Africa and there's Christian missionaries, they go out and they speak to people about what we're doing. But frankly, a lot of those people say, sure, take my photograph. If it helps, it helps. So I prefer to have people's permission. But yes, to put in this context, the energy is objective. Whether it's one person or 100 people or a football stadium, light acts objectively. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
You could take a photograph of anybody and that person's force field will be accessed, or an animal. About 2 months ago, somebody sent me photographs of kangaroos in Australia. The kangaroos had bacterial infection. After I worked with these photographs of kangaroos in Australia, they no longer had any bacterial infection. The kangaroos returned to health.
So what's the process with somebody sending you a photograph?
It's cut and dry. It's so simple. We simply
How
ask people.
long? Yeah, how long does it take?
Yeah, that's an open-ended question because everybody's different. We give away 15 days of free sessions. People will send us a photograph at night. I actually print those photographs out every night and I take them to my lab. And then we start the sessions. 1 hour will be devoted to a chakra balancing. The next hour we devote to eradicating microbes, viruses, bacteria, fungi. And then the remaining 22 hours a day, if you will, we work with photographs of nutrients. Mm-hmm. This is glutathione. Mm-hmm. If I take glutathione as a force field, as an energy field, and place it next to my photograph, the two force fields communicate. It's not biological, it's energetic. The energy of glutathione enters into my energy field. Mm-hmm. This is how I receive my nutrients every day. I don't take supplements. I don't take multivitamins. I receive my nutrients through energy through the photographic dimension, which is the quantum dimension, which is a much better delivery system. I don't have to rely upon the circulatory system. Energy floods my aura, my body, my quantum field. I don't have to take something and digest it. I receive the nutrient through light. Light is much more efficient than the circulatory system.
Right.
Okay.
No waste, no.
Yes.
Where it needs, it just.
It's the perfect delivery system. There is no waste. Everything is perfect. My work is flawless. Why? Not because of me, not because of anything I'm doing is exceptional, because I work with light, and light never makes a mistake. Mm-hmm. This is why I've had such great success over the past 30 years working with people and animals. It always works. I mean, how many people can say that? How many people can say, well, yeah, I always have a great day at the office, or I've never struck out when I went up to bat at baseball, or I can always hit the golf ball a mile long. Well, I always hit a home run. Karen, why? It's not me. It's the energy. Every day is a home run for me.
That's an important distinction. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So when you're in the lab and you have the two photographs, you were just referencing glutathione and your photograph, and that's something that you use light to infuse into your body. Is it through the photographs or is it through your machine that has the energetic code mapped to it, and then the light is...
My instrument establishes that local environment. In my instrument, it's no longer an electrical field. Mm-hmm. It's a scalar energy field that picks up the scalar energy on my photograph. Mm-hmm. Now, if I place my photograph in a toaster or a refrigerator, it would not work.
Right.
Okay? Because it's an electrical field. If I place my photograph in a scalar energy instrument, it's entirely different physics, in which my photograph has signatures of viruses. So this is a new physics that's not being taught by academia. Okay, you can learn about electricity and magnetism all day long, and God bless everybody who's pursued that science and for their course of study. This is not electricity. Working with photographs is a new science of scalar energy, quantum energy, as you noted, that does not behave like electricity.
So I was going to go back to working with animals. So I'm curious about some of the timelines. You receive a picture from an animal, or of an animal that is sick. Do you have some sort of output from your machine that you've developed that tells you what it's picked up?
No, and I'll tell you why.
Okay.
Consciousness, that's what I'm working with, consciousness, or the intelligence of the universe. Nobody has ever developed a meter or a gauge. You can't gauge this energy, it's infinite.
Right.
An electrical current is finite. You can gauge wattage, a current.
Yes, you can. Mm-hmm.
This is not electricity. How can you gauge the consciousness of the universe, which is an infinite value? In order to measure something, it has to be a finite value.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think anybody will ever be able to measure scalar energy. There is no basic unit.
Mm-hmm.
There's no finite unit. You can see the before and after effect. Okay? The before and after effect, people say, well, Tom, I was HIV positive, and now for some reason, I no longer have a viral load. To me, that's quite telling. It begs a definition, but it's a quite favorable posture to say, well, thank God they're no longer HIV positive. Why?
Yeah.
What happened?
What was the time frame for those in that clinic in India?
Usually within 4 or 5 months, they no longer have a viral load.
Wow.
By that time, the virus is shattered. You cannot detect any particles of the HIV virus.
And that was working daily in your lab with
Yeah,
their
working
photographs?
daily. That's correct. Yeah.
So take, for example, something like chronic pain, something that really isn't related to a virus or a bacteria.
Many people say the nutrient program helps them because it gives them the nutrients that they need, that they're no longer experiencing the inflammation. Others say that by eradicating bacteria, sometimes people have what I call arthritic conditions because of bacterial contamination, inflammation in their joints, etc. Many people say that their range of motion improves within the first 2 or 3 weeks of our sessions because they've been beset for their entire lives with pathogenic infection. They've been beset, if you will, with a lack of nutrients. We see a dramatic turnaround usually within 2, 3, 4 weeks of sessions.
So is everything take place in your lab? There's nothing that the technology is not
That's
sent
it.
to. Okay. It's
That's
all
it.
within your lab.
One laboratory, one instrument could work with 5 million photographs a day.
So, okay, I want to rewind. For those people that struggle to understand the quantum field and that we're playing within an infinite possibility of multiple dimensions and realities, how do you help explain this for those people that just really are having a hard time understanding what this is?
If you have a religious background, you believe in God, you believe in a supreme being, and many people think that God is outside of time and space. He is. And that God can command the universe, and he does. And that God is composed of light. He's not a human being. He's a supreme being. God is light. Well, that's what I believe I've tapped into, the light of God. Again, this is not electricity. So if you're from a religious viewpoint, that helps. If you believe that everybody has a soul or an aura, that's what I'm working with. There is an aura. It's scalar energy. It's not electricity. I tap into the aura of a person or their chakras. So whatever your philosophical belief, your religious background, most societies, most religions, most, if you will, civilizations have had some type of reverence for light, for energy, this universal light. Some people call it God. Some people call it Om or prana. Others simply call it quantum energy. But there's a profound influence and a profound respect that people have for this throughout millennia. Why? They realize it's unique, that it's all pervading.
When this technology treats people, is there some sort of understanding that the recipient has to, I don't know, understand.
Yeah. It helps. I would think it would accelerate the healing.
Sure.
But let me go back to the kangaroo in Australia.
Yeah.
I don't think the kangaroo had, I'm not being facetious, had any idea
They probably didn't have a clue, right?
that in North America, his photograph was inside a scalar energy instrument and we were eradicating bacteria for him. I've treated infants and the infants perform quite well. They've never had their first physics lesson. So light, scalar energy is universal. Whether you realize that or not, or whether you accept it or not, it doesn't matter. Everybody is subject to sunlight. The stars are always giving forth their light 24 hours a day. We are bombarded by starlight, whether we realize it or not. And that starlight has a profound influence on us. Mm-hmm. We barely scratch the surface as to what these cosmic forces can do for us.
Right. So why would I not be subject to scalar waves when I go out on my boat in the summer or when I go out at night and see the night sky?
Why would I not?
Okay.
You are 24 hours a day. And the scalar energy that you're receiving, it far exceeds the energy that my instrument can produce. Mm. I simply have copied a miniature star. That's what I have with my instrument. Mm. I have a miniature scalar energy star. However, my star cannot compare to the billions of galaxies that God has created. Mm. So what is the point? The point is just to draw attention to this. Again, I think people have this gift from God. I think thinking, thoughts, and feelings are scalar waves, scalar emanations. And if there's anything that I would like to achieve, it would be to introduce people to this concept that everybody has access by thinking and feeling to this dimension of consciousness, this dimension of prayer, this dimension of meditation. I firmly believe, and I pray every day, that prayer can change the world, that meditation can change the world, that positive thinking can change the world, that goals, whether it's in school or in sports or in business or in government, anywhere, that if you have goals, that's a mindset. Those are goals, those are objectives, and that in and of itself changes the world for the better. So that's positive thinking. That's a game plan. That is a curriculum in a school, in an academic setting. And it works.
Yeah, so the scalar energy that, take for example, in meditation, where you're connecting to this higher consciousness, would you consider that to be along a scalar wave?
It has to be. It's information. And it transcends time and space. Consider this. A thought can travel across the universe in a flash, instantly. Well, then there has to be a universe to accommodate that. Mm. What type of universe, what type of energy will accommodate a thought or intention or prayer or disposition or feelings, love, mercy, grief? What accommodates that? There has to be a universe that complements, that can carry that wave. If I think it's a scalar wave, it has to be a scalar universe that is infinite. I don't know why
that really made sense to me, what you just said.
I don't know why physicists haven't figured this out. If we believe in quantum mechanics or quantum physics, and we realize thinking or praying or what they call consciousness, it fits its way into that paradigm, then you better have a universe that matches up to it. Okay? In other words, if you have a car that can travel at 200 miles an hour, then you better have a roadway to accommodate the car to travel 200 miles an hour. So if our thoughts can travel at an instantaneous rate, we better have a universe to accommodate that instantaneous transmission. It has to be scalar energy. There's something much better than electricity, which has a limit of 186,000 miles per second. So all of this is starting to make sense now. When you have two energies, there's two explanations for reality. What's the problem with Newtonian physics? It only looks for one explanation for the universe. You can't do that. There's two energies. There's two explanations. I'll give you an example. Physicists see stars and they say that's a plasma field. They can't explain it. They just use this nebulous term. It's a plasma field. A plasma field is a scalar energy force field. And many times that plasma field doesn't have mass. Well, thinking does not have mass. Scalar energy does not have mass. Yeah. It's pure plasma. Yep. It's pure energy. Yes, without electrons. It's pure scalar energy. It's consciousness. That's a plasma field. That's a quantum field. So we've already proven that a plasma field does not abide by Newtonian physics. Of course not. It's quantum physics.
Yeah. What's really fascinating to me is the idea that you've developed a machine to capture this, number one. Yeah. And two, this could really change. This could really change a lot if you think about this.
Yes.
Because we all have access to this. We all have our own innate access to source this from within. And let's say this scalar wave device that you've created jump starts this for people, right? Yes. And then you think about people turning on their own light around the world.
Yes. Bravo. That's what I want.
Yeah.
It's the multiplier effect. Mm-hmm. If I can introduce this and I have 8 billion people finally at their peak performance in a cerebral sense, a spiritual sense, an emotional sense, we'll elevate the world. That's the multiplier effect.
I believe it. So I want to go a different direction here. I want to talk about the people in our society that are struggling. That there's a big disconnect from what we're talking about to what they're living. Just pick whatever comes to mind, right? How do we reach them through this work?
It has to be grassroots because it has to be here. People have to believe. The conversation that we're having, Karen, you see the gigantic potential. Why is it that some people can send me their photograph and after a month or two, and this has happened frequently, they tell me they're no longer depressed. They no longer have a cocaine habit. They no longer drink a lot of alcohol. They've lost weight. They're happier. Some parents say that their kids are finally studying in school. Some people say they've amended broken relationships. I'm not a relationship coach. How did that happen? I don't know this man from this woman. I don't know anybody that when people send me their photograph, it's none of my business, their personal life. Mm-hmm. I don't know if they have a drinking problem. Right. The energy, God knows their problems, and God corrects their drinking problem. And if you can do it with one person, you can do it with 100 people, you can do it with 10 million photographs a day. Mm. That's the game changer. This is the simple, easy, inexpensive way of treating 8 billion people in the world.
Yeah, it's profound. It really is. I mean, it's so the to be able to work with it, people can send their pictures through your website. Is that right?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, and you have a 15-day free trial. Is that right?
That's right. That's right. I want people to try this. If you've never heard of this before, I get it. I invented this process. There's nobody else with this process. My instrument is unique. My approach is unique. I'm trying to show the world, prove my discoveries through testimonies. That's the best way.
So I sent you a picture. Mm-hmm. I have a couple questions about this. Do you print out every picture?
Yes, I have to. Because
I print out in color?
No, black or white is fine, or color. But every night after I get off our conversation, I have about 2,000, 3,000 photographs waiting for me. I have to print them out. Because there has to be
like small, like what you're showing us there. So okay,
they're miniaturized. Yes, they're miniaturized. They're all it's a computer uploaded, and they're all placed on a collage.
Okay,
we're getting ready, Karen, to treat the world, and in order to treat the world, you have to miniaturize the photograph, and a computer has to do the work. When I'm sleeping at night, I receive hundreds of photographs. They come in all time of the day. We're international now. We're getting photographs from the four corners of the earth.
Does it matter the actual physical light that shows on the photograph?
No.
What if
No,
it's a really dark photograph?
doesn't
You can
matter.
still
As
pick up
long-
the energetic signature of it.
Correct. Correct. God knows who you are.
Uh-huh.
God knows. As long as it's some part of your skin, you'll be.
Can you pick up through a voice recording?
I think eventually we can. The instrument's not designed for voice, but I think it will be. I think it will be proved to. A voice is still your signature, so it should be able. I don't work with recordings. It's much easier to work with photographs, but that's a good point.
What about personal devices? Is that something that you would work towards, or will it always be contained within your proprietary system?
It's kind of a double-edged sword. I want to help mankind, but I don't want this instrument. I don't want this technology in the wrong hands.
Mm-hmm.
It's very powerful. So for the next few years, I'm going to keep it to myself. I'll see where this goes, but I'm not planning on selling instruments. I don't have manufacturing capability, first of all.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to sell the instruments. What I need to do is introduce it to the world. I need to educate people. That's the key right now.
I know you were in your lab when we first started recording. How big is the device?
Put it on a table. It's about 7 feet long. Probably weighs a good 100 and 110 pounds. It's quite an engineering feat. The initial inventor, his name was Galen Hieronymus. And I actually worked with his family. I never met him, but I met his wife and his daughter. And they taught me how to use this technology. So he is the initial inventor, Galen Hieronymus.
I'm curious about the nutritional piece of it. So adding on these nutritional components, anything that you can get an energetic imprint for, you're able to then use scalar light to move that energy to people. Is that correct?
Yep. Amino acids, no problem. Vitamins, minerals. All I need to do is place the two photographs in the force field. Scalar energy will ascertain how much glutamic acid that I need and download it into me. I never experience, if you will, a overload or overdose because it's always self-regulated. There is no human reasoning here. Everything is perfect. You cannot have a chemical overdose because we don't use chemicals.
So I'm not trying to push your proprietary process. I'm just really am curious. So if I scans my picture and it shows that I am low in glutathione, which a lot of people are, you said there's no output. Is it just the machine carries the imprint for all of those things, and then the scalar light carries it to the human in whatever capacity they need it?
Correct. That's what I've seen. That's what I've seen. So the energy seems to be self-regulating. Whatever you need, you receive.
Wow.
And that's the way I want it. I don't want to guesswork for 500,000 people how much glutathione or vitamin B that they need. I have no idea.
So I want to talk about cancer patients. Do you work with a lot of cancer patients?
No, because I haven't discovered the way to arrest, stop, cure cancer. I believe scalar energy will be able to download the energy to create a ordered genome. We'll take the chaos out of the genome, cancer, the mutation, and correct the mutation with energy.
Yeah. So you're probably working with a lot of the disease before it actually manifests as cancer. What kind of, besides HIV, what other things have you?
And I don't mean to be gauche about this. It's easy to eradicate viruses and bacteria. Whether it's, I've worked with people with tuberculosis, that's a bacterium. People tell me, within a month or so that we can easily eradicate TB. Here's one of the photographs of Mycobacterium tuberculosis. It's easy to eradicate that bacterium. So I'm saying that because I can use photographs and isolate the problem through a photograph, I have the answer for viral, bacterial, fungal, protozoan diseases. I have the quantum answer. Okay. Eventually, I want God to give me the wisdom so I can download that energy and recreate or correct a mutation. If I can correct a mutation,
Yeah.
call it what you will, you can solve, cure, you can remedy cancer. But it has to be done energetically. This is not a biological process.
Right.
And to be very clear, I never want to work with people, and I don't. The instruments are not designed to work with people.
Mm-hmm.
I work with the copy of a person.
Yeah, and in the quantum field, we're in many places at one time, so that
Yes.
makes a lot of sense to me. Yeah.
Exactly. And if you can get that, if you can understand that concept, that you can be in many places, you can bilocate, you can multi-locate through a photograph. Consider that. How many photographs do you have, Karen? How many photographs do I have? In the quantum field, you and I are in thousands of places. Every photograph, whether it's on Facebook or in a newspaper or in your home or in your anywhere, your friend's cell phone, you're multi-locating by your photograph.
I just thought of something that really kind of has blown my mind. If I am in multiple places across space and time, past lives, future lives, current lives, in all of these different places, and I have harnessed the ability to tap into this scalar light, really, I should be healing in all space and time.
You're right.
There should be, I should not be ailing
Exactly.
in the future, in the past. And I mean, I should, because
You're transcending time. There is no time.
there is no time. Yeah.
There is no time. And that's why when people send me photographs, sometimes this is 3 years old, it
Yes.
doesn't matter.
Yes.
Because the photograph is always in the present moment, proving that I'm in the quantum field. I'm not in the electromagnetic field. Some people send me photographs that are 20, 30 years old. It doesn't matter. This photograph is always in the present moment. Anybody's photograph always reports their present quantum state.
So the work that you've done personally with scalar waves, like for you and your own body and your own replication of your body
Yes.
in the quantum field, can you feel anything?
Yes. I'm 63 years of age, and I think it's prolonged my life. I think it's slowed down my aging process. I'm healthy all the time. Yes, it works. I practice what I preach. Yes, I treat myself every day.
Yeah, has it improved your sleep?
Yes, I sleep like a baby.
Wow.
It balances my chakras. I sleep without interruption. I have a vivid dream state. I'm always rested.
What's something unusual that you use scalar wave? I mean, I know you're using this every day and you're in your lab every day, but what is something that maybe people will be like, wow, I didn't even think. I mean, I know the possibilities are endless, but from a finite mind, right? I am in a body right now.
Very good. I have many friends in Hawaii. They've sent me photographs of the ohia tree, OHIA. There was a blight. Thousands of trees in Hawaii had this fungal blight. I treated the trees.
Really?
I removed that fungus. The trees are no longer dying.
Wow.
So you can treat millions of trees in a day.
How long has that taken?
I've treated elephants in Asia that had viral diseases. As I mentioned, I treat people all over the world. I've been working with this HIV clinic in Delhi, India. We've worked with over 5,000 people at the Om Prakash Clinic. And in testimony to our work, the actual experimental group, our group, the 5,000 people no longer have a viral load. The control group, everybody else that we've not worked with, still is HIV positive. So if you want a clinical study, that's it.
I was going to say, yeah, I was going to say.
If you want a clinical study, that's it.
Do you think that the belief patterns of the people in India are open to this more? Like, what's some of the work you've done?
It's easier in Asia. Why? They grew up with chi, prana. They recognize it's part of their culture. It's part of their religion. And those cultures that have never heard of chi, prana, consciousness, it's just not part of their religion or part of their society, it's difficult because they have to learn it. Whereas people in India say, yeah, prana, yeah. It's like the back of their hand. They know it.
Yeah, that's so true. Yeah. Do you find that this is harder to get and infiltrate in those that struggle with their religious, their understanding of what religion means to them?
You don't have to understand something to accept it. There's a lot of things I don't understand, but if it's self-evident, I accept it. The stars have always mystified me. I'm starting to understand stars. It's scalar energy. But years ago, I didn't understand it was scalar energy, which is perpetual energy that's the motivating force behind a star. Well, I have a refined viewpoint of stars today as opposed to when I was 15 years of age.
Right.
But they're still out there, and they've been with me my entire lifetime. So you don't have to understand something. If something's self-evident, well, then you can't argue with nature, especially with light. Light is fundamental. Light does not make a mistake. Energy observes the laws of science. If you're really a scientist and you want to follow the science, you follow light, energy. Energy is immutable. Energy never makes a mistake. So if you're really going to be a scientist, you look for the properties of light, the properties of energy, and you abide by that. If you contradict light, well, you're not a scientist.
Yes, I agree with you. So with your grassroots movement to move this out into the world, how are you doing this?
By gracious people like you, Karen, who see the big picture, who understand that if Tom can work with people around the world, and after he works with those people, they'll send him a viral load test, and by golly, there's no indication of HIV, or there's no indication of herpes. There's a viral load for herpes, no viral load for herpes. So why do I show this? It's the results of the people. It's not my opinion. The people are telling me that they feel great.
Yeah.
So it's a grassroots movement. You're not going to get academia to jump on the bandwagon now. They don't have an instrument. They don't have my knowledge. But the people, their testimonies speak louder than anything.
I mean, think about when you jump on anywhere to buy anything. The first place I always go is the review section.
Yes.
I want to know what other people's experiences are.
Yes. Thank you for mentioning. That's why I keep driving this. It's the testimonies of people. How can 5,000 people are no longer HIV positive, and they did nothing exceptional except they sent me their photograph? How can that? Isn't that self-evident? Isn't there not something that stirs the imagination and says, well, there's got to be some merit to what you're saying, Tom?
Yeah. So what about people that have passed on? They're not in this physical form anymore. Do you work with scalar energy for those that are?
Yeah. Some people have sent me photographs of loved ones who are deceased. Mm-hmm. They're still in the quantum field.
Yeah, they are.
Your soul exists forever.
It does. I'm just curious what your perspective is on it.
Yeah. It's still a connection.
It is.
It's not a biological. It's just like everything I do. It's an energetic connection with their soul, their aura, and you understand that quite well. This is not a biochemical reaction. This is a quantum connection through force fields, through energy fields. And we're now starting to understand that everything has a life force, an energy force, a force field. Okay, it might sound like Star Trek, but by golly, a lot of those science fiction movements were prescient, and they're right. Everything has a force field.
Yes. I just think about, too, being able to harness scalar energy for DNA, disruptions in our DNA. That would be number one. And number two would be being able to do scalar energy healing on people that have been deceased, where there was disruption in the epigenetics, the issues with passing down things across multiple generations. So healing that with photos across space and time, I think that could be really powerful.
I'll let you into this insight, and this is where I'm going with cancer. Scalar energy is a double helix. It's the same double helix that creates our DNA, which is a double helix.
Right.
And the reason we have a DNA coil, a double helix, and it is self-governing is because scalar energy governs our DNA. We're
Of
created,
course it does.
our DNA is created from scalar energy. What are we? We are scalar energy DNA molecules.
Wow.
We're
So
made from the light of God. Our
yes.
DNA is the image of God.
This is maybe not a question I should even ask but I'm curious for those that have a genetic mutation.
I think the day is coming where we'll understand so much about scalar energy, we'll be able to correct cancer, cellular mutation,
Wow.
and genetic mutation.
So is that part of the research you do in your lab?
Yeah. I'm trying to figure out a way to create an accurate scalar wave to override and correct genetic mutation.
Yeah, that's hard for me in my finite mind to think about. What does that look like? Right?
It's going to be very simple because everything with energy is simple. What evolves, the result of that energy is a complex universe. But energy is fundamental. And when you go back to the first principle, if you have perfect scalar energy and a strong scalar energy force field, you should be able to download that and create the perfect human being or correct people to perfect them.
Wow. Whew, my mind's been blown tonight. Thank you for
Thank you, Karen.
your service to humanity.
You see the big picture. You see how energy it commands universe. Energy follows the laws of science. It is self-evident once we realize this. Most importantly, energy is supreme. All of creation obeys energy. Energy dictates nature. And if we can control scalar energy, we can dictate the universe. We can dictate nature. We have dominion over nature.
So I'm curious, one quick thing, and then we'll wrap up, about those that are. We live in a universe where people really want tangible, verifiable evidence that something works. I think that's part of our medical model. I think that's part of just a lot of how people operate. And I need to see it to believe it, right? That whole concept. So how, like people that are signing up for your 15-day trial or whatever it is, how do you provide, not you, I'm sorry. How does it just speak for itself through the testimonies?
It speaks through itself. Scalar energy is invisible unless you see some type of solar flare. It's invisible. You can't measure it. There's no scientific gauge or meter for it. You can feel it. It's still abstract. It is abstract. It's there, but it's not concrete. It's an abstract notion. So I want to prove this by the results. It's the only way I can do it right now. Results. I can't measure the energy.
So those people that say, "Oh, the light of God is within me," or "God spoke through me," would you consider that to be scalar waves?
Yes, I would.
God spoke. Okay.
When people have clairvoyance or prophecy, or they can see the future. How do you see the future? God shows you the timeline of scalar energy. The future is all in that timeline. Scalar energy is a cause of time. If you see the future, you see the timeline. Mm-hmm. You see the future events. You can see forward and you can see the past through the scalar wave. It's almost as if you're watching a TV screen and you see a past event. Well, you could see that in your mind by way of a scalar wave.
So scalar wave, I think you said earlier, is like the roadway, right?
Yeah.
Or scalar wave is the car that travels on the roadway to be able to get you to. You can have a thought, but how do you get that thought across space and time? Scalar waves.
Exactly.
Wow. So, Tom, how do people find your work and
there's one website
trial?
Yeah, there's one website because there's only one researcher, scalarlight.com.
Okay.
And that's my lifetime of work. and read some of the articles. If you have any questions, we have a support desk. You can ask the support desk and sign up.
Yeah, well,
Look at the 15-day free session. We give everybody free sessions to begin with.
great. Yeah, I'll link all of that in our when we post the live. That's wonderful. Thank you. I always like to wrap up with what is your unique parting wisdom with all the work you've done with scalar waves? What's your
Remember,
unique parting wisdom for our group? Yeah.
remember, you're made in the image of God. Your thoughts, your feelings are scalar waves. Scalar is from God. So the way you think, the way you feel is the world, the projection that you're putting out there. So have noble thoughts, do noble deeds. There's a lot of negativity in the world. Forget that. It doesn't work. Be noble. Use your mind, use your heart accordingly, and create the world that you want through those scalar waves, through consciousness, through intention, through prayer. You have that. Everybody has that ability.
Thank you, Tom.
Thank you. Enjoy the conversation.
Thank you for joining us today on the Grounded Guidance podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, please consider subscribing to our podcast and leaving a review. Your feedback helps us reach more curious minds like yours. Until next time, stay grounded, stay guided, and keep stretching your edges to think differently. Take care, my friends.